Shalom. I want to give all the praise, honor, and glory to Yahweh Bahasham, Yahweh Shai Bahasham Rakakwadash. Double honors to the apostles and elders of Great Millstone who taught me this truth. Shalom to the hopeful elect. The days are at hand and the effect of every vision. Okay, we live in prophetic times indeed, man. And the mandate of the MOTB is getting closer and closer. The prophecy of the microchip slacks not. Okay? So let's read a couple of points from this article here. This is from ridingthebeast.com. It says microchip implants in 666, EPI, charagma, and chi-psi stigma. There are many people out there pointing to implantable microchips to fit the role of the mark of the beast. Most of the time, biblical evidence to support such claims is lacking. One may even begin to think that such support doesn't exist. But if we look closely at the Greek words directly associated with the mark of the beast, such as EPI, charagma, and chi-psi stigma, it becomes clear that biblical support for such a mark is very strong. One of the most common claims against a microchip implant is that the mark of the beast is supposed to be, quote, on the hand or forehead and not in, quote unquote, the hand or forehead. Do Revelation 13:16, Revelation 14:9 through 10, and Revelation 20:4 refer to a mark in the body or on the body, right? Well, let's read it. Okay. Revelation 13:16. And he caused of all, both small and great, rich and poor, free and bond, to receive a mark in their right hand or in their foreheads. All right. So this is a physical mark that's going to go inside of the body. Okay. This chip is going to be put inside, okay, the hand or the forehead. Okay. As prophecy reads here, man. So there shouldn't be any confusion about that. This is going to go in the body. All right. This is a physical mark, right? Verse 17. And that no man might buy or sell save he that had the mark or the name of the beast or the number of his name. Right? Let's see. It says here, Strong's definition of among really starts to make sense when one considers the patent Biobond 4 coating that enables the surrounding tissues to fuse with an otherwise smooth glass capsule. Biobond was a solution to the problem of RFID microchips migrating when implanted under the skin of household pets. This coating makes microchip implants very difficult to remove without surgery. In other words, like the Verichip, the mark of the beast is likely to remain permanently once implanted. All right, there you go. Let's get into it here, man.
We're into 6G now. I just finished 5G. I was a leader on 5G getting that done. And now they're up to 6.
Let's do it again.
What does that do? Give you a little bit deeper view into somebody's skin? See how perfect it is?
Trump signed a memorandum to accelerate the deployment of 6G. It says one of the purposes of 6G technology is to operate implantable technologies. So these include many things, but the main purpose will be brain chips, right? So literally brain implants. And recently, a new technology of brain implant was developed by researchers at leading universities called the Biological Interface System to Cortex, BISC, B-I-S-C. What this is, it's a very small brain chip that's basically the size of a postage stamp. It will go in the brain through some sort of surgery, and it will install and merge human consciousness with artificial intelligence. And so it's not just BISC, but it is also Neuralink and all the other brain implants incoming. The goal is to literally have some sort of symbiotic relationship with artificial intelligence. This is very worrisome. Once humans merge their consciousness with artificial intelligence, that is it for humanity. And I, for one, will not be taking the 6G AI brain implant. I don't care if I'm left behind. I don't care if I don't have telepathic abilities with other brain chip users. I'm not going to lose my humanity.
Hey, that's it. The end of humanity. We here, man. Okay? The MOTB is on deck. Ezekiel 12 and 21, it says, "In the word of the Lord, Yahweh Shemel Shah came unto me, saying, Son of man, what is that proverb that you have in the land of Israel, saying, the days are prolonged, and every vision faileth?" Verse 23, "Tell them therefore, thus saith the Lord power, Yahweh Shemel Shai, I will make this proverb to cease, and they shall no more use it as a proverb in Israel, but say unto them, the days are at hand, and the effect of every vision." You see? Habakkuk 2 and verse 3, "For the vision is yet for an appointed time, but at the end it shall speak and not lie. Though it tarry, wait for it, because it will surely come, it will not tarry." All right, so as we just saw here, okay, Trump is the guy that's going to bring this thing to pass. All right, Trump just signed a directive to accelerate 6G deployment to operate implantable technologies, which would include AI brain chips known as the biological interface system. Biological interface system to Cortex BISC, right in your face, man. Ezekiel 33 verse 33, and it reads, "And when this cometh to pass, lo, it will come. Then shall they know that a prophet have been among them." All right, so the Most High has made this thing clear. All right. Anyway, so let's get into this here. This is from theguardian.com. This came out yesterday or 2 days ago. It says, Trump counterterrorism chief quits over Iran war, blaming you-know-who. All right? People don't want to die for the tiny tops, man. All right? Joe Kent resigned as National Counterterrorism Center director, saying Iran posed no imminent threat to the U.S. Check that out, man.
But we begin with the war in Iran. President Trump's top counterterrorism official resigning tonight, saying Iran posed, quote, no imminent threat to the U.S. Late today, the president lashing out after Joe Kent, his hand-picked director of the National Counterterrorism Center, quit his post. Tonight, President Trump also furious. NATO allies are refusing to help protect the critical Strait of Hormuz more than 2 weeks after President Trump started the war. And tonight, Iran now confirming its national security chief has been killed in an Israeli airstrike. And a short time ago, the images coming in, flames rising from the U.S. Embassy in Baghdad. What we've learned, Iran-backed groups hitting multiple targets. Rachel Scott leading us off here with this high-level resignation tonight and President Trump's response.
Tonight, the administration's top counterterrorism official resigning in protest over President Trump's war with Iran, declaring Iran posed no imminent threat to our nation. Joe Kent, director of the National Counterterrorism Center, writing, "I cannot in good conscience support the ongoing war in Iran. It is clear that we started this war due to pressure from Israel and its powerful American lobby."
Ooh, see that? And this is why MAGA has fell apart. Okay, these Americans have realized that that they've been duped, man. Okay, that they're fully under the control of the you-know-who's. All right, so hey, America, Egypt is divided, man. Okay, this has been a major problem since this information has become known. All right, Isaiah 19 and 2. "And I will set the Egyptians against the Egyptians," all right, division. "And they shall fight every one against his brother, and every one against his neighbor, city against city, and kingdom against kingdom." Okay? This place is completely falling apart, man. All right? And it's been vocalized like the Marine guy that got his arm broken in the door. All right? And they kicked him out because he said that, hey, we don't want to die for these people, man. All right? So this is definitely internal division. Okay? The Most High is bringing this place down. All right. Verse 3, and the spirit of Egypt shall fail in the midst thereof. And that's part of that too. Right? That American pride, that might, it's all failing. People don't want to go to war. People don't want to die for the tiny tops. All right. The uproars, the protest, the sedition that's going to be behind all of this, man. It's about to go down. Right?
Kent accusing Israel of a misinformation campaign to deceive Trump into believing that Iran posed an imminent threat to the United States, and that should he strike now, there was a clear path to swift victory. This was a lie. President Trump, who has long supported Kent's political career, despite Kent's controversies and past associations with anti-Semites, today brushing off his resignation.
And I always thought he was a nice guy, but I always thought he was weak on security, very weak on security. I didn't know him well.
Today, the top Democrat on the Senate Intelligence Committee, Mark Warner, saying Joe Kent's record is deeply troubling. But on this point, he is right. There was no credible evidence of an imminent threat from Iran. It comes as the president lashes out at America's NATO allies for refusing his demand to help reopen the Strait of Hormuz, more than 2 weeks after President Trump launched the war himself.
Yeah, and like all these political analysis and these war analysis, they've been all saying the same thing, that Trump got pulled right into the trap. They drew him right in. All right, the small hats drew him right in to this war, which is prophecy, Jeremiah 49. Okay. Jeremiah 49 and verse 20. Therefore hear the counsel of the Lord, Yahweh Shem Yahushai, that he have taken against Edom and his purposes, that he have proposed against the inhabitants in Teman. Surely the least of the flock shall draw them out. Surely he shall make their habitations desolate with them. All right. So as the prophecy said, that these small hats were going to draw America right into this war as it happened. All right. And this is also part of the great noticing, man. It's over, man.
Germany declaring it's not our war.
We can't be at every place to support a war which we didn't start it.
From the UK, a similar message. And today, French President Emmanuel Macron
Nous ne sommes pas partie prenante au conflit.
saying France will never take part in operations to open or liberate the Strait of Hormuz in the current context.
I think NATO's making a very foolish mistake.
After calling for Europe's help, tonight the president saying he doesn't need it after all.
Well, we don't need too much help, and we don't need any help, actually.
The president clearly frustrated with our NATO allies, but they have been very clear that this is not their war, saying the president did not consult with them before launching those strikes against Iran. And tomorrow, all eyes will be on Capitol Hill. The president's national security team will be testifying before Congress, and they will certainly face many questions about whether Iran posed an imminent threat to the United States, David.
And you'll be watching that hearing for us, Rachel Scott, tonight.
Yeah, major division. All right. As I talked about the other day, how America was being isolated by its allies, right? This is from The Atlantic. This is how America first became America alone. The dangerous fantasy of total independence, right? Let's summarize it real quick. See what we get. Okay. So it says the provided text critiques the America First ideology under the Trump administration, arguing that a fantasy of complete national and individual independence has led to strategic isolation and economic vulnerability. See? And we're not going to read all of that. Yeah, because as we're going to get into some more of the Strait of Hormuz, we've been talking about that all week. Isolation from allies. Right? After years of characterizing allies as, quote, freeloaders, the U.S. found itself without international support when seeking help to open the Strait of Hormuz. Strategic miscalculation. The administration's aggressive trade in diplomatic tactics, tariffs, and imperial dismissiveness removed the incentive for allies to assist during a conflict with Iran. Regional instability, the lack of coordinated strategy led to shock when Iran targeted various Gulf nations, causing those allies to reconsider the the reliability of U.S. protection. Okay. Let's see what else we got. The strongman delusion. The administration operated on the schoolyard logic that raw power and force always triumphs, ignoring the historical failures of such thinking in Vietnam, Iraq, and Afghanistan, which all these wars America lost. Okay? Let's see what else we got. Yeah, that's the point. So there you go. All right? More indicators of the fall of America, Babylon, you know? What else we got here? Financial Times, Trump ally warns U.S. economy not strong enough to cope with Iran war. Because we all know that this situation is going to be used to collapse the American economy, all right? And we ain't got to read that. The headline says enough, all right? But back to this guy here, what's his name? Joe Kent, okay? Right? Joe Kent under FBI investigation for allegedly leaking classified info, right? So I believe through spirit that he's under investigation because of what he said about the you-know-who's, right? Here's a quick interview with Tucker Carlson. Let's play that real quick.
I cannot in good conscience support the ongoing war in Iran. Iran posed no imminent threat to our nation. Iran posed no imminent threat to our nation. How did you reach that conclusion?
I think this is key. I mean, this would be more challenging to explain had the Secretary of State, the President, and the Speaker of the House not come out and said that we conducted this attack at this time because the Israelis were about to do so. So that takes away the argument that there was an imminent threat, as in Iran was planning to attack us immediately. That just simply did not exist.
May I ask you to pause? Sure. And so I've heard people say that, and this just happened, but history has a way of getting rewritten in real time, and then you look back 10 or 15, 20, 25 years later, and no one seems to understand the things that you saw because they've been eliminated. Yeah. So I think it's important to stop and say, here's what we actually know. So I'd like now, if we could, just to play one of the statements that you alluded to, and that's from Marco Rubio, the Secretary of State, and this was shortly after this war commenced, and he was explaining as is his habit, in a thoughtful, precise way, why. Here's Secretary of State Marco Rubio.
And so the president made the very wise decision. We knew that there was going to be an Israeli action. We knew that that would precipitate an attack against American forces. And we knew that if we didn't preemptively go after them before they launched those attacks, we would suffer higher casualties and perhaps even higher those killed. And then we would all be here answering questions about why we knew that and didn't act.
Okay, so that is his almost contemporaneous explanation, and it's not offhand. He reasons it out. He explains there's a logic chain there, and he says, we knew not that Iran was going to attack. He did not say that.
Right.
He said we knew that Israel was going to attack Iran, and in retaliation for those attacks by Israel against Iran, Iran might attack American forces. So the imminent threat that the Secretary of State is describing is not from Iran, it's from Israel.
Exactly. And I think this speaks to the broader issue. Who is in charge of our policy in the Middle East? Who's in charge of when we decide to go to war or not? In this case, with what the Secretary described, and later on the President, later on the Speaker of the House, and the way the events played out, the Israelis drove the decision to take this action, which we knew would set off a series of events, meaning the Iranians would retaliate. Now,
so as we just read in Jeremiah 49 and 20, all right, the least of the flock shall draw them out. So as he said, okay, the Israelis drove the decision to take this action. Okay, the Israelis drove America into war. Prophecy, man. And this is what's causing the great divide amongst these Americans, these Edomites. All right, that are pro-America, that are for America first. That's why MAGA fell apart. Okay, they see that Trump is compromised. All right.
I think there's a potential there where we could have done several different things. We could have simply said to the Israelis, no, you will not. And if you do, then we will take something away from you. I think that it's fine that we offer defense to Israel. But when we're providing the means for their defense, we get to dictate the terms of when they go on the offensive. Otherwise, they stand to lose that relationship. And the Israelis felt emboldened that no matter what they did, no matter what situation they put us in, that they could go ahead and take this action, and we would just have to react.
There you go. The least of the flock should draw them out, and that's why these tiny tops, as we brought out in Obadiah, all right, thou art greatly despised. Obadiah 1 and 2. Behold, I have made thee small among the heathen. Among the heathen, thou art greatly despised. See, greatly hated. You know. So let's grab a little bit more here, man, because the news has been, like I said before, since the this war has taken off in Iran, the news has been hot, man. All right, check this out. We spoke about this briefly as well, but about a month or two ago, because the elites down at the WHO were saying that the next situation was going to be basically the war on water, right? Let's play this clip real fast.
It's official. We're running out of fucking water. And no, I'm not being dramatic. The UN has officially declared that we have entered global water bankruptcy. We will be running out of clean water, things that you use for drinking, cooking, showering, in the next few years. We are not mad enough about this, nor are people even educated about this. Because what is leading this crisis are the fucking AI data centers. The things that they convinced us that we need so we can make more AI generated slop. It's another reason why I hate these damn AI gurus that you guys keep falling for online. We are running out of fucking water. We do not need robots that bad. We do not need artificial intelligence when we have real human intelligence walking the earth. And at the same time, we have the Epstein class bombing children like never before. Humans are going extinct at a rapid rate. What the fuck are we doing? We are not mad enough about this. They're bringing down the population at historic levels to replace us with fucking robots. And no, this is not a sci-fi movie. It's playing out in real time. But you're so distracted with the AI bullshit that you can't even see what's going on. So for the love of God, stop uploading your shit to AI and training it for a future robot to take your fucking place. And let's start teaming up and bringing down these data centers so we're not fighting a robot like it's fucking Terminator.
Boom. Just adding on. All right, this is from News Target. It says data centers, drought, and decay, the triple threat pushing U.S. water systems to the brink. Right? Clean water is running out. It says the U.S. loses an estimated 6.75 billion gallons of treated drinking water daily due to leaks in aging and crumbling pipe networks. All right? Experts warn that decades of underinvestment have created a massive funding gap with total upgrade costs potentially exceeding $1 trillion. And America don't got that. Okay, new pressures from drought, industrial demand like data centers, and contaminants like PFAS are compounding the strain on an already stressed system. While recent federal funding proves a down payment, the scale of the problem means water utilities are increasingly passing upgrade costs to consumers through rising bills. The crisis is just not about water scarcity, but about reliability, safety, economic waste of a failing delivery infrastructure, man. Okay? This thing's about to go, man. All right? The water is polluted. The data centers, the PFAS in the water, the toxic shit that they put in the water supply. Okay? And again, this is why we say the world needs new management, man. Okay? If this man had his way, no flesh would be saved. Right? Hey, the news just continues to get worse and worse, right? Isaiah 3:1. Isaiah 3:1. God will remove the leaders, all right? That's the spirit. You know? Isaiah 3:1. For behold, the Lord Yahweh Shemel of hosts, doeth take away from Jerusalem and from Judah the stay of the staff, the whole stay of bread, and the whole stay of water. Okay? Famines, water shortages, right? They're here. Ezekiel 4:16. Moreover, he said unto me, Son of man, behold, I will break the staff of bread in Jerusalem, and they should eat bread by weight and with care, and they should drink water by measure, and with astonishment. All right? There's going to be a lack of water, man. Water's going to be rationed. That they may want bread and water and be astonished with one another and consume away for their iniquity, man. Serious judgment that the Lord is bringing upon Babylon, bro. Man. You know, it just gets worse by the day. All right? But that's pretty much the point, man. You know, just, hey, prophetic times, man. It's going down. Shalom.